It's 2020 vision.
From Singapore. Somebody who I met again in Australia. We had some wonderful experiences in Bali. I remember when she had an awakening sitting on a rock. It reminded me of a narrative from a Japanese forest scene. Please join me in welcoming the lovely and talented as she comes into the site. Let's see. Hello, Masami Sato. You are needing some unmuting. There we go. Maybe I'll put.
Hello. Hi, Dave.
Hello, Masami. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm gonna go to your background style, so then I can look scholarly. How are you doing?
Great. Yeah, great. And we are almost like halfway, all the way around the world, the other part of the world.
Absolutely.
Right now.
12-hour point. So I love the fact that
Yes.
when I get to talk to Masami, it's 12 hours different. So she's had a whole day ahead of me.
Yes, like it's at the end of the day in Singapore right here. So
Masami, I've asked you to share a little bit about the vision of giving, of the people on the planet. You are by far the person I admire and respect, and the team that you have. It's absolutely incredible. And last time we chatted, you also shared that even your vision of giving has shifted a little bit since you've been on the journey for the last 13, 15 years, or maybe even longer. Would you share for our friends just a little bit about your vision of giving, or even what you see the vision of buy one, give one?
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Dave, for having me here. And it's great to be connecting with you and being part of your book launch as well. So a little bit about B1G1. So when people hear the naming B1G1, buy one, give one, they go like, what does it mean, buy one, give one? How does it work? So what happened was in 2007, we imagined a different kind of world. We imagined a world where every time we do something, whether it's having a cup of coffee or going out and then buy things, or businesses doing something, we imagined what if something great also happened in the world. And so B1G1 works with businesses from around the world, and they help them embed effective giving in what they do in a meaningful way. So, for example, a coffee shop might say, every time we serve a coffee, we give access to life-saving water to a child in need. Or the fashion brand might say, every time you purchase one of our clothing lines, a girl gets opportunity to go to school and complete education so that they don't get trafficked. Or every time an accountant creates a new client, a woman receives access to a goat for the family so that they can have a sustainable income. So B1G1 makes these things possible for businesses in so many ways and so many kinds. So today B1G1 works with nearly 3,000 businesses, and those businesses are making a difference every day through what they are doing. And together, so far, they have created more than 210 million giving impact. So that we see it as power of small businesses making a small yet tangible impact through everything they do. And as a result, together, they get to create great impact.
So when we talked about impact, that's a beautiful word that I believe is really energizing the effectiveness, because what you've done is you've taken out a lot of the middle people that get taking all of the money or the funds, and you've really made a connection to allow somebody in Perth or Melbourne to have an impact in Africa. Share a little bit about, again, impact and what that is meaning to you these days.
So when we first started the B1G1, it it started with a very simple idea because I myself was a business owner and I became an entrepreneur and started my business with a desire to make a difference in my own way. And back then, like when I first started my business like 20 years ago, my passion was food. So I started a food company. And then through that food company, I wanted to make a difference. Like, so I used to think one day, you know, when we make more profit or when our business is bigger, then I wanted to do something meaningful. And then in my own way, I wanted to contribute toward the food and the education for children, especially street children, you know, who didn't have the opportunity that many of our kids, you know, in today's world have. So I was working really hard growing my business, but then I realized one day, like about 5 years after I started my business, that even though I was working so hard on a day-to-day basis, I didn't feel like I was making a big difference. And because we were so busy doing what we were doing, everything, like, you know, even though the business was growing, all the money we were making was going back into the business so that we could grow what we were doing. So it felt like the kind of ambitious goal that I had was like moving along, like ahead of me. So one day I imagined, what if it wasn't about doing something big at the end of great success in the future? What if it was about doing something little, but doing it every day? So from that day, we decided to give a meal for every meal we sold. And that really transformed the way I felt about my own business, but the way I expressed that and connected that with my team members and customers. And so at that time, then I started to imagine, what if every business could do this? And if it wasn't not just about my business, but every business could express their giving spirit in their own way. So that's why even today, 13 years later, B1J1 is not about one way of giving or the other. It's really about every business to really think like why they are doing what they are doing and what impact they want to create, and they get to choose the way they give. So today B1J1 has more than 500 high impact projects, you know, from giving water to giving access to education or planting trees or cleaning up the beaches. Or so we have so many different kind of projects. And then businesses and their team members get to think about the impact they want to create, and they get to measure the impact they are creating on the day-to-day basis. So we want to make it very meaningful and then bring people together through that sense of giving spirit.
Masami, another thing that when I talk about you or people ask me about Buy One, Give One, and it's been your incredible team spirit, yet working collaboratively with schools. I remember some of the projects you did with some of the students that would come in and work collaboratively with you and Paul, and it would just be such a great collaboration. In fact, for me, as I close my eyes, it's like your ability to harness and nurture and develop young talent. Can you share with our friends? Because so often a solopreneur, their big challenge is actually bringing people and nurturing and then getting them in positions or roles that they can shine. What's been your approach to do that? Because I'd love to hear one or two or three of your ways of doing that.
I think sense of contribution and desire to make a positive influence or impact or help others and serve others, that's in every person. And it's just that the way we express it could be different. What I realized was that even though, you know, giving can be monetary giving, and people can donate money to make an impact and help people too, but there are so many different ways that we could all be part of making a difference together. So when we started to work with, for example, students years ago, we were really amazed by actually the, you know, already existing kind of desires that students had to make an impact. So when we had a, like, let's say, internship opportunity or opportunities for students to come together to create application or business solutions that made an impact, then the kind of engagement that we had with them are very different from traditionally students going for like internship to kind of work for banks or financial institutions that gave them like a future opportunities. So we've done so many things like bringing people together, whether it's students actually contributing their time or professionals volunteering their time or businesses that come together to work with us. Like whenever we create opportunity for people to actually contribute rather than opportunity for people to gain something for themselves, as a result of that, like what we can do is very different. So we are continuously like amazed by what happened in the giving space, and how like the giving spirit unite the people so that we can together achieve something that we don't even imagine we could do, individually. So it's been a journey. The 13 years had full of learning, because we used to think like, how can we pitch this idea to businesses to give? Because that wasn't something that they had to do, or that wasn't something that was their kind of like highest priority. Businesses exist to make money and maximize their profit, but what we were selling was for them to give something that they earned away. So we used to think we had to give, like we had to promise more value or features, but actually the fundamental reasons why people or businesses come to join us in this mission is because they actually care. Because they realize that there is more that they could do, rather than just making ends meet and maximizing the profit. So it's quite amazing to see, actually.
Yes, given I invited you to come and talk a little bit about vision of caring and impact, what would be some of your visions? Again, when we first started chatting about 12, 13 years ago, we were focused on the 2020 vision, and now we might be 2030 vision, maybe 2040 vision. Would you share a little bit about what are some of your visions and maybe some of the things that excite you? Like, you've traveled to India and to Africa and other places around the world. Are there travel that interest you, or are there projects? I love the fact that you have 500 impact projects. If any of our listeners today are interested in probably any type of impact, there's likely Buy One, Give One has a type of project that they can be part of and they can be active with. When I wrote Get 2020 Vision, out of the blue, and it gave me goosebumps, I wrote about you because your whole essence of contribution, yet wisdom, yet practical approaches, I so respect and honor. What about vision for 2030 or 2040? Is it something you could share a little bit about the direction you're seeing?
So the fundamental reason for why we are doing what we do is to create a world full of giving. And that's really the simple version of our mission, because we realize that the world full of giving is a happier world as well, and more fulfilling place, where every child, where every person has the opportunity to live the life that they feel fulfilled by. And so that's kind of our vision. And the reason why we decided to work with businesses rather than saying like, okay, world full of giving, let's go to everybody and ask for donations. So we didn't do that. Why did we go to businesses? And the reason why we went to businesses was because we realized that business, and businesses are really the drivers of the world and what happens in the world. Because businesses can be everywhere, regardless of all the differences, like cultural differences. We might believe in different religions or from different background, races, like different thinking. But everywhere we go, businesses are actually touching lives every day. So we thought, what if every business becomes a giving business? And through that, they get to make the impact and positive difference that they want to make. And because business people, who started those businesses had a different desire, vision, idea, purpose, passion. And that's why they ended up having different businesses. So it's really about empowering those businesses to simply make an impact. And if we all did it and did it habitually rather than once off or rather than in an ad hoc way, when natural disaster happens, yes, there is a lot of donation that can be raised to help people, because naturally humanity, like everybody, is very caring, and when they feel moved by something, then they would give. But the problem of ad hoc giving is that actually there are lots of problems in the world that we may not even understand or we may not see. But if every business is driven through the giving spirit, it's not about donation or charity drive or charity balls, or it's really about making something so natural that we do every day. So in B1J1, we use the metaphor of small tiny honeybees, because when those honeybees are creating their own sustainability in a very natural way, they do it every single day. They go collect the nectar, but when they do so, they pollinate their flowers. So because of that, year after year, they would create abundance habitually. And that's just because of what they do every day. So businesses can do this too. I believe that the individual little transactions and businesses are like those tiny little bees. And if they are all doing the natural thing, which is to make a difference, and which is to give back, which is to be part of the natural cycle of giving and receiving, when we are all doing that and creating the world full of giving, then all kind of problems can be transformed gradually and in a sustainable way as well. So that's the vision. And then for now, we say by 2025, we want the community of businesses to create 1 billion giving impacts. So that's quite a long way to go still. However, I think it's possible, because if you look at the number of businesses and what's happening, then businesses do have the power to make a difference.
So 2025, 1 billion is your vision. And right now you're at what?
210
So folks, that's 210 million gifts of giving. And the target is 1 billion in the next 5. And if people want to reach out or connect with you, Masami, because I know you've got some duties to take care with the young ones, what way is the best way? Is it contacting b1g1.com, or what would be a good way for people to reach out to you?
So first of all, like if you are a business owner yourself and interested in B1J1, then you can go to b1j1.com and then take a look at what we do and how this works. It would be great, like, we get to have more business people to join this movement. And then let's say if you are not a business owner, but you work for a company, or you actually have a favorite coffee shop, or then it would be great if you could spread the word simply so that the more businesses get to learn about how little it takes to actually do this, and then to have a stronger sense of purpose to unite the people together. So we are looking forward to connecting with many more businesses moving forward, and creating also many impacts through more and more NGOs, charity organizations joining us as well.
Masami, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time, and continue doing wonderful things. And I'll definitely be sharing more about B1G1 wherever I go.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you so much for having me as a part of your book launch as well. All the best. And yeah, I hope your books will also touch many lives and transform so many lives, making a great impact too. So all the best.
Thank you. You have a great evening.
What we should have done, but hindsight is 20, 20, 20.